And we are back. You are listening to the Rutten River Pursuit podcast. We're bringing you the National Rifle Association's Great American Outdoor Show 2020, bringing it to you day by day. Tell you what, I think we let Stevie in charge of the equipment today because we got you a big old fishing episode. The boys spend a good bit of time down in the fishing hall. It's going to be good stuff. I know it. Let's just get right to it. Let's get down to that show floor. Here we go.
All right, we're back in the fishing hall. We're with Bradley Smith. We're with Brad Smith, Barcelona Charters. I'm excited.
Why are you excited?
We're in the fishing.
You're jumping up and down.
Right behind me, I see pictures. Lake trout, walleye, steelhead, you name it. Lake Erie, I'd never fished it, and I got to. It looks beautiful.
We're not that far away from it either. We need to get up there.
I know it. How are you, Brad?
It's a good time.
Yeah.
I'm well, thanks. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's another great day here at the show.
Oh, man, it's jumping here today, huh?
It is. It is.
So, Brad, where are you docked at?
Well, I'm at Barcelona,
Okay.
which is just a little port on Lake Erie.
Okay.
I am at Monroe Marina, and it's a very small harbor.
Okay.
And it's really hard to get lost there.
Yeah.
You know, there's a public access, and of course the marina is privately owned. And I mean, it's my backyard. I grew up there. You know,
Did you?
I started walleye fishing in 1978. So
Been doing it a while.
yeah, and it's been, I don't know, it's kind of,
Should know all the spots by now, right?
well, I know where some of them are.
So tell us about a charter with you. How does that work?
Well, a very good friend of mine, Captain Mike, he goes by, Mike Cochran, he started Barcelona Charters in the late 80s.
Okay.
1987, he bought a brand new boat similar to that. It's a 27-foot sport craft.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great,
Yeah, nice boat.
great boat. And so he come to me and he said, hey, you know, at that time there was 8 to 10 guys that fished out of the public pier.
Yeah.
Really?
A busy day.
Yeah.
Just 10. We're all walleyes, all worms, all worm harnesses, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, Mike says, I want to go charter. He says, why don't you get your captain's license and you book your trips and I'll book mine and we'll get the boat paid for and we'll work it. So that's how it all began. And my son's in the oval picture above your head. That photo was taken in '89, and you can see the marina is full of boats.
Yeah.
You had to buy a boat there to get a dock, blah, blah, blah. But that's just kind of how it started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my business grew, and his business grew, and my sons, they had to stand on the seat. So they had to learn the compass first.
Really?
And so that's kind of how it started.
That's a good way to learn now.
Yeah.
So you touched on it. You're trolling with worm harnesses primarily through the season, or you mix it up, or?
Actually, now I only use worm harnesses when they're not biting.
Okay.
For me, that's what I like to use. I like to use the artificial baits that you can keep using.
Yeah.
Other than breaking a hook or breaking off on a line. Worms are very effective for the sport fisherman, weekend guy. You know, fishermen like to use what works.
Right.
So what works for one isn't necessarily a good option for another guy.
Right.
For me, I've made these work, and I've used Joe Ranowski's lures my whole life. We became friends 40 years ago because we caught fish.
Yeah.
Captain Mike didn't like boat rides. We're going to go catch fish or we're going home.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Joe liked that because that's why he makes these lures. So that's kind of how it all started, and they are effective. His lures are made for all freshwater Great Lakes, and then you can use them in saltwater as well. But
Really?
Yeah.
So you're trolling these
do.
these lures? Yep.
yeah, we do troll. Generally in the cooler waters, we start in closer to shore,
Okay.
and we use planer boards, lead core line, We don't run monofilament anymore, but we also run dipsies and downriggers because sometimes we can get in a little cooler water for the steelhead and the Lakers.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's kind of like a layered cake.
Yeah.
You know, the walleyes like it a little warmer. You know, it's around 58-ish, depending on the time of year, and the
Okay.
steelhead like it cooler, and lake trout like it cold, 40, 45 degrees.
So when you're heading out, do you target a specific species, or you're going out for whatever's hitting, and then you're on that roll once they start biting, or?
I like to promote the walleyes because they're good eating.
Yeah.
They're not aggressive. They don't fight like a steelhead. They're not as exciting as a steelhead. They just pull, but they're a very, very mild fish.
Yeah.
And people come to hopefully get as many fish as they can.
Yeah.
And we provide a cleaning service, and they can take them home and cook them.
Yeah. And they're great table fare.
Oh
I
boy,
love
they're
walleye.
they're wonderful. Well, my oldest son, he started fishing when he was in diapers. His mother'd be working, and I wanted to go fishing, so the diaper bag and a few toys went in the
there you
boat.
go.
And
That sounds like a
That's all
lot.
right.
Wow.
So when we book a charter with you, what's a typical day look like? You know, we show up at the dock, we meet you there, and we go out. Like, how does that work?
Well, number one, most importantly, I've been doing this a long time, and I don't want to take your money.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
All right, let's
Sign
roll.
me up.
Without, let me
Okay, all
add,
right.
without getting something in return.
Okay.
Because without that return, I wouldn't have any business.
Yeah.
Sure.
So what happens is we meet, we talk, and I answer all the questions. I tell them all the facts. They show up 7:30, 8 o'clock, quarter to 8. We like to leave at 8 in the morning, come down to the boat. Sometimes my customers will come the night before, see how I did that day, and chit-chat with the customers before. Come down, show up. We leave at 8. 10 minutes, we're putting lines in the water because it's a deep water port.
Yeah.
Everybody takes a turn, however you want to do it, and we fish until 3:15 after 3, 3:30, and we go back to the dock by 4.
How many people do you normally take on a trip?
4 is comfortable on my boat.
Okay. What's the walleye limit on the lake for?
It's 6 walleyes per person.
Okay.
Minimum length is 15 inches.
Okay.
There is no slot. Just they have to be 15.
You typically fill up. People typically limit out. Is there a special time, a better time of the year to go to catch a limit?
Because we're the deepest port in the lake, we're the last harbor to warm up.
Okay.
Whereas people that fish in the Western Basin, Putin Bay, off the Sandusky, it's shallower water. That warms up first. We are the last to warm up. And so we don't generally start until the end of June.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
It's like a 10-week, we have a 10-week window.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we start the end of June, we go to the middle of September unless we have good weather. We have fished right up to October.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So, and they just get bigger and bigger because they know winter's coming and they're going to feed.
Start
And
putting
it's
on that feedback.
my favorite time of the year, so
Yeah.
end of August and September. So we did. Last year was 2 years ago was the best catching ever.
Wow.
Okay.
Last summer, 19, it blew 18 out of the water.
Did it
Wow.
really?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well, I've read some stuff that the Young of the Year study for walleye in Lake Erie is booming. So years to come, I mean, this fishery, we might be not even at its peak yet.
My people tell me that this next year, 20 is going to be better than 19. It's
Awesome.
going to be better than 18.
That's great.
And it's all Mother Nature. I mean, it's all in God's hands because it's a monster lake, and there's
Yeah,
no way
sure it
man
is.
can control
Yeah.
what's happening.
Yes.
So as long as we don't run out of bait, that's a lot of walleye to
which may
feed.
not be a problem.
Yeah.
They always
Love it.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this season. The fish are going to be 20 to 24 inches this year.
That's
average.
awesome.
You
That's
know,
great.
and that makes it for a nice box of fish.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we occasionally catch, 10, 11, 12 pounder. And that's kind of the icing on the cake for the day.
Yeah.
And, we get little ones too. I mean, that's the way it is.
It's
That's
fishing.
fishing.
You got to have the little guys to get the big guys.
Yep.
It takes 7 years for a walleye to become 24 inches.
Does it really?
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And after that, they have to actually dissect the fish. Like a fish that's 32, 33, 34 inches, it could be 20 years old.
Yeah. Wow.
So
That's awesome.
That's interesting.
So, if our listeners can't get down to the show to talk to you, where can they book a trip with you? Like, can they find you online?
they can call me direct on my
Okay.
cell, or they can go to my website,
Okay.
which is barcelonacharters.net.
Okay.
It's not a fancy website. It's an old website. They can contact me there.
Perfect.
Or they can email me at brad@barcelonacharters.net.
Perfect.
That's probably the easiest way.
Yeah.
And how
Yeah.
far of a trip is it from here in Harrisburg to drive?
Harrisburg to Barcelona is less than 5 hours.
Is it really?
Easy day
Yeah,
trip.
it's
There
a
you
nice drive.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Good.
Well, we thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks,
Oh, thank you.
Our listeners should definitely check out Barcelona Charters.
Thank you.
And we hope you have a great show.
All right, thanks, fellas.
Brad.
Thank you.
Yep.
you.
Bye now.
Okay, guys, we are back. And I had to pull Stevie.
I love fishing.
We know. We are at the FLW Pennsylvania chapter booth. Did I say that correct?
Yes, Pennsylvania Bass Federation.
There we go. And we were with Mr. Mike. How are you doing today?
Mike Galka.
Mike
Nice
Galka.
to meet you guys.
Yeah, man.
Thanks
So,
for taking the time to talk with us.
You bet.
we're like everybody else. We just love to fish. And I think we found the right booth for that, correct?
Absolutely.
So what do you guys do with the Pennsylvania Bass Federation?
What we do is we promote bass fishing, conservation, youth. We do structure, like we provide structure for certain lakes. Like
Really?
we did
Yeah.
a cribbing project at Lake Wallenpaupack. Kids stuff, we have casting for kids, real kids, which is the competition where they cast and they can actually move up the ranks and they'll have a Pennsylvania championship. They could actually go to nationals and win all kinds of prizes
Wow.
and things like that.
For
Yeah.
casting accuracy.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. It's like a little bullseye they set on the ground, and the kids cast a little weighted plug, and wherever it lands, they get points.
Well, Stevie
And-
wouldn't win that.
No.
No.
Not a chance.
Watch your eyes, right?
Not a chance.
Yeah.
Eyes and ears, right? You put
Yeah.
on your eyes and ears.
Put on the face shield just in case,
Put a
right?
tree by that bullseye.
I'll
and
nail it.
And he's in money.
Yep.
There you go. How about if the tree's in the water though? That's where you want to be.
I'll get wrapped up. It never fails.
Yeah, that's
Well, you gotta sacrifice one lure to catch the big fat
That's
fish,
right.
right?
I
That's
wish
right.
it was one lure.
That's right. That's right.
So, Mike, how does the Pennsylvania Bass Federation do all of those things?
Donations mostly, and I don't want to sound like it's just like any organization anybody's ever belonged to. Usually, it's 10% of the population of that organization doing 90% of the work.
Sure.
Yep.
And we have a group of guys that are very active and get out there and man the booths and go to the shows and help the kids out. Like we provide captains for the Quad State high school championship teams,
Yeah.
especially down the southern end of our state.
Okay.
Is a lot of high school teams, and they compete against other states' high school teams also, Maryland, Virginia, Delaware.
So they're the captains at the tournaments.
Are guys like us.
Yeah.
Well, that's
because
cool.
you're talking about high school kids.
Yeah. Right.
And we try to help them out. Like we'll say, okay, where do you guys want to go fish?
Yeah.
And usually it's teams of 2,
Okay.
and we'll take them where they want to go, and then they'll man the boat and they'll fish, and they'll say, okay, we want to go down by that point, and then we'll take them down there and they'll fish down there, and then we bring them in, and it's just like any other bass tournament,
Right.
You know.
Where were you guys when I was in high school?
Yeah, we didn't have any.
I mean, there was no high school
No.
fishing tournaments. There was no collegiate tournaments.
Nothing.
Man,
Nothing.
to be a kid nowadays,
Yeah.
that's
A
awesome.
lot of opportunities.
There is.
There is.
Yeah.
So you have local chapters or regions throughout the state of Pennsylvania, or is it the state itself?
We are divided up into 7 districts.
Okay.
And the districts are each district has a different amount of clubs in them, and then we actually compete against other districts.
You do?
Yes.
Ooh, let's talk about that. That sounds like that could be a lot of fun.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is, and you get to meet a lot of new people.
And that would be the members competing against
Yep.
members.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's just a normal 5-fish tournament, is
Yep.
it? Yeah.
Yep. And most of the time in them, it's a balanced field, and like what that means is the same amount of boaters there are riders.
Okay.
Like there's guys like people
Right.
say, well, I can't bass fish because I don't have a boat.
Okay.
Totally untrue. If you were just a guy who wanted to go out and go bass fishing and learn more about the sport and be in competition, you could join any bass club. Right now, there are 38 bass clubs in the state of Pennsylvania.
Wow. I did not know that.
And there are 765 active members as of right now, and you're wondering, like, how does he know that?
Yeah.
I happen to be the membership director.
Okay.
So everybody that pays their dues, they all come across my desk, and I process them. And we're affiliated with TBF, and they're the ones. Have you guys ever heard of what they call, living your dream package?
No.
Like basically it's a way for us to, like, we fish against guys in the state, and then we go to what is called the national semifinals, which is the country is divided up into different groups of states.
Okay.
We fish against New York, actually Canada, and Pennsylvania. And the winners from that go, and there's a whole bunch of them, and then they go to a specified lake and fish against all the other winners, and you can win a brand new bass boat, a brand new truck,
wow.
and like I believe it's like $100,000, and you get to pick a circuit that they will pay your entry fee for the entire year.
Wow.
Like if you wanted to go fish against the Van Dams and those kind of, like, to become a pro.
You mean go lose against them.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, but you have a shot. It's
But
fishing.
you do. You
It's
have a
fishing.
shot, and that's what they call living the dream package.
That's
Man,
cool.
awesome.
So, yeah, it's, you know.
So it's not just a club membership, but you can join Pennsylvania State. Like, do you have to be part of the clubs, or is it a membership throughout Pennsylvania? That if you didn't want to do the club activities, you're still like a blanket member for the whole like conservation aspect of it, or?
Yeah, you can, if you choose not to fish anything, you can be involved in the youth stuff. You can be involved in the conservation stuff. Whatever floats your boat. I mean, realistically, I mean, if you just thought, well, geez, it's a way for me to be involved. You can. You can.
Yeah. That's great.
What's your favorite way to bass fish?
My favorite way, finesse fishing.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slow, deliberate, pick it apart.
Yeah.
If I know the fish are there.
Ned rigs?
Yes, I like Ned rigs. Ned rigs are good, especially for smallies.
That's Stevie's favorite.
How many Ned rigs do you lose on a normal, like, let's say you're going out 3 hours. How many Ned rigs would you lose?
A dozen.
Okay.
It's not just you.
Thank goodness.
It's not just you.
A dozen gets me in the door, but it's at least, I know I'm not alone.
No, you're not. No,
Oh,
you're
my.
not. No, you're not.
They catch fish.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
I tell you a little secret.
Yeah.
Get yourself some old spark plugs,
Yeah.
and whenever you get stuck, you know how you got your thing on the end, a little loopy thing.
electrode.
Yeah.
put it around your line and just kind of squeeze it a little bit, and then let it slide down the line.
What?
And when it hits the bottom, you give it a couple little jerks, and that'll loosen up your lure from being stuck, and reel it in, and then bend it back up.
Looks like the Honda's up for a tune-up here. You're getting some old spark.
Yeah, I'm serious. It's an old trick, but it works.
I like it.
Wow.
It does work. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
perfect.
And when the spark plug gets hung up, then you put like a
battery.
car battery.
Yeah. Well, you got to admit, lures are expensive.
Oh my goodness,
I mean, you go lose a dozen lures, and you're talking, $10 you lost there, and you didn't catch a fish.
Yeah.
So, but I really enjoy it. Like I said, you get to meet a lot of people from all. Like this year, I was fortunate enough to qualify for the national semifinals.
Well, congratulations.
And I fished with a guy. I had a rider. And the guy was from New York.
Okay.
Fantastic young kid. We got along great. And I learned a little bit of something from him. He learned a little something from me. And we got to know each other. I still have his number in my phone.
Yeah.
I mean, we keep in touch.
That's cool.
And the second day I fished with a guy from Canada.
Wow.
And another fantastic guy.
Yeah.
So,
That's
I mean, you
awesome.
get to meet new people. It's just,
That's what it's all about.
That's,
absolutely.
absolutely. And we,
What lake was that you fished?
That was at Lake George.
Lake George.
Yeah.
Where's Lake George?
That's where the national semifinals was. See, each and like our group of three there, like each year it rotates who gets to pick where the tournament's held.
Gotcha.
Like the year before it was at the Bay of Quinte in Canada.
Okay.
And last year it was at Lake George.
And that's in New York State?
Yep.
Yeah.
And now
Okay.
this year is our pick, and ours will be held at Lake Wallenpaupack.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a big lake.
Yeah.
I've been there a few times.
And Ned rigs are going to be all over the bottom of that. Let me
that's
tell you
the
what
way
right now, because there's a lot of good smallies in there, and I'll
great.
lose a ton. I can tell you right now.
That's great.
Yeah.
So for our listeners, and they want to get more involved in FLW for the state level, what should they do? Should they, a website? How do they find out more?
If you go on to pabass.com,
Okay.
there's a lot of pull downs. Home, about us, the meetings, how to join,
Okay.
Applications for tournaments. It has a map. Like if you see this, there's a map here we have of our districts, and it also has like on that website it'll say, okay, you're in District 7. All right, the District 7 has 5 clubs.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the contact information for each club.
Yeah.
Like, you say, well, I'm from
South Central Pennsylvania.
I'm from Central Pennsylvania. I definitely don't want to go fish District 7 up in the northeast corner.
Okay.
So you'll find out who the chairman is of District 4, say, if that's where you are in the center of the state. Maybe it's Joe Smith. And it'll have his email address, and you just email and say, hey, I'm a guy who wants to join a club. I live here. Can you hook me up with a club in my general vicinity? So you're not traveling along.
Right,
I mean, it's
right. Great.
it's it's not a cheap sport
Yes.
hobby
No,
to have.
we know.
You guys
We
all,
know.
if you love fishing,
Tell me about it.
you're spending money.
Nice.
But this way you get hooked up with somebody that
that's
can help
great.
And
you
what
out.
was that website again?
pabass.com.
pabass.com.
Yep.
All right.
So our
Yep.
listeners should definitely check that out.
Yep.
And we appreciate your time.
Oh, anytime. Glad to do it.
What's your booth number here? 2808.
Yep.
In
the fishing hall.
So
Yep.
we
Thanks,
thank you.
Mike.
Mike,
Yeah.
thank you very much. Have a great
You're
show.
welcome, guys. Take care.
And we are in the fishing hall at the Great American Outdoor Show 2020. We are with Instigator Sport Fishing. My man Josh Wentling.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for staying and talking with us for a little bit.
Absolutely.
You got a busy booth, so I'm glad we can get you for a minute.
Real nice.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. In fact, I see you guys with a drink. I'm going to grab something to wet my whistle here.
So it looks like you're out of a couple different locations. Tell us a little bit about where you're fishing out of.
Yep. We fish out of Oregon Inlet. Mostly, that's our home base.
Is it?
Manio in the Outer Banks. Pirates Cove particularly. The end of July, last week of July, we go up to Ocean City, Maryland, and we'll fish there until roughly September 20th. That's prime time for marlin fishing up there.
Yeah.
So do you guys enter the White Marlin Open?
Yeah.
Do you?
That's what I was thinking when you said that time frame.
Yeah. We've been in it every year for probably 30 years or better.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
That looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
What was your best year? Can you recall?
Yeah, it was 1998. We won the Hatters Village tournament with an 861 blue marlin.
Woo.
We won the Big Rock. We won the Ocean City Tuna tournament. We got second and third place for white marlins and first, second, and third for tunas in the white marlin tournament.
And that was all in one season.
And then we went to Mid-Atlantic.
Oh, my
Got
gosh.
first, second, and third white marlins and first, second, and third tuna fish. I bought my first house and my first truck in cash.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I was wondering, are you still playing around with those winnings or not?
And set up my retirement.
Yeah, I bet, man. I bet. That is awesome.
Yeah,
man.
we had a hell of a year that year.
Yeah. You don't have to work if you have years like that, you know?
Oh, it's still work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on it. What species are you going after?
Mostly 90% of my charters were tuna fishing. Everybody loves to catch tunas.
Yeah.
But that time frame that I'm in Maryland, it's mostly marlin fishing. A lot of white marlins, some blue marlins thrown in. Occasionally we see a sailfish. We see more sailfish in North Carolina, but in Maryland it's a lot of whites with some blue ones thrown in.
How many different species of tuna do you catch?
Well, we catch yellowfins and big eyes. This time of year we're catching giant bluefins in the Outer Banks.
So you're still fishing out there now?
We fish year-round in the Outer Banks down there.
Wow.
However, I go hard at it till November 1st, tie the boat up, and then you'll find me in a tree with my bow for the next month
There
and a
you go.
half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this might be derailed of this conversation,
That's all right.
but how long does that trip from Hatteras take by boat to get up to Ocean City?
About 6 hours.
About 6 hours.
Yeah.
It's a nice ride.
What size of boat are you running up there with?
57-foot Carolina boat. My dad and I built it in '99.
You build it.
We built it in conjunction with Craig Blackwell of Blackwell Boat Works.
Yeah.
And it's the second boat my dad and I built. And she's 20 years old. We just did a refit 4 years ago. Put new motors in, new interior, new paint, new everything. She looks like she's brand new.
Really?
What motors do you have in it?
A pair of Caterpillar C18s. They're 1,150 horsepower each. Each.
How many knots do you do?
My cruising speed, we're going to go to and from the fishing grounds, it's like 27 knots. She will do 40, but that's in the corner, and she gets extremely thirsty at that speed.
2,000 horsepower will suck down some fuel.
At our regular cruising speed, I burn about 55 gallons an hour, which
A drum of oil an hour.
which isn't bad for that size boat.
Yeah.
There's a lot of boats out there that are that size that are, what we call production boats that are, Oceans, Vikings, so forth. They're burning 120, 150.
Wow. That's nuts.
So it's the difference between a custom-built boat that only has what you need for fishing versus these big overbuilt production boats that got washers, dryers, all kinds of luxuries. We don't need that.
So it's built for function.
Correct.
Definitely fishing function.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When you're trolling, what do you troll with?
All ballyhoo, dead bait. We pull some lures, especially when we're blue marlin fishing. But Shimano reels, custom rods.
Yeah.
It's depending on the species we're fishing for. It could be, if we're tuna fishing, we might have as many as 12 or 14 rods in the water. If we're marlin fishing, it's usually 4, maybe 5.
Yeah. So
It all
you see the
depends.
guys on TV, the what's that TV show, Wicked Tuna? Is it really like that?
No.
It's
No.
not?
It's extremely dramatized. The
I
prices.
find that hard to believe.
Yeah, imagine that. The prices on there are not accurate at all to what we get in the market.
Okay.
I mean, I'm probably not at liberty to say what prices are because I don't know what they are right now currently, but they're nowhere near what you see on TV.
Really?
Gotcha.
They're terrible.
Is that real? Is that how you head it and then a guy pokes around at it and says, "Here's the price."
A core sample.
Right,
Core
exactly.
sample,
I used to do that.
Better way to put it.
Many years ago. We fished out of New Jersey, out of Long Beach Island and Barnegat Light, and in the fall we would bluefin fish. And the best year that I ever remember, I was still in junior high school. My dad, we caught one on Halloween, and he was 440 pounds dressed, and we got $44 a pound for him.
Wow.
That was a beautiful fish.
Wow.
To this day, I've never seen anything even come. No, I've never caught anything that comes close to that.
What makes a fish beautiful like that? What are you looking for?
Well, like you see them look. They look at the meat. They look at the color.
Yeah.
The striation. It's just like if you would go buy a steak. You know, you go look. You want to look for marbleized meat or the fat marbleized in the meat. It's similar, same kind of thing you're looking for in tuna fish. It's different. You want to look at the sheen, the color. You know, if it's cherry red versus pale pink. You know, there's different variations to it. Yeah.
So we're looking to book a trip. How does that work? We call you. We say, hey, we got 6 or 7 guys. How many people can we put on a boat?
I can take 6.
Okay.
I can take 6 customers, myself, my mate, and that's it. Now,
so what do we bring?
Bring your food, your lunch. We got all the tackle, the bait, fishing license.
I probably don't have anything I could reel in a 400-pound tuna.
No. But now, if you do have a fly rod or you know, a nice, say, 8, 10, 12-pound spinning rod you want to bring, you know, a lot of times we catch dolphins, you know, the mahi-mahis.
Yeah.
You know, you catch one, and then the school gets up to the boat, and we end up just what we call bailing them. It's one after another.
You just catch them on like regular bass?
Yeah.
Tackle.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And, you know, we have a lot of people that bring their fly rods they use for largemouth bass or whatever and have a ball with it.
Wow. That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but we cover everything else. We have all the bait, tackle, fishing license, all that you need. All you got to do is, you know, bring your, you know, pay for the trip, your tip for the mate, and fish cleaning money, and you're good to go.
Half day, full day?
Full day, 12 hours.
Okay.
Yep. Usually 5 to 5 is a ballpark. You know, sometimes we might leave a little earlier and stay a little later. Some days we leave later and come home sooner. All depends on weather and time of the season.
Yeah. Now, how long are your runs normally? Out of Ocean City?
Ocean City.
Because you're getting out to like the Hot Dog and to all those other grounds
and beyond,
and that's a haul.
Well, it is. I mean, I'd say on average my run's probably 50 miles.
Okay.
And at the
That's
speed that we go, we're less than 2 hours.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
And in North Carolina, you know, we're from the time we clear the inlet to fishing grounds, maybe an hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty.
So you got a lot of fishing time on that 12 hours.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love it.
And you know, in North Carolina, it's pretty cool that there's a lot of variations of stuff to catch. So let's just say we have a real good morning catching tunas. We got a nice catch of tunas, a box of tunas. You know, you got 2 choices. We can get in early, get your fish cleaned up, and if you want to drive home, go ahead and get on the road. Hey, if you're staying the night, well, maybe we'll go ride around and look for a blue marlin, or we'll go make a couple drops for a swordfish, or go drop for tilefish or groupers. There's a lot of fun things to do.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So your sign here at your booth says to ask you about daytime sword fishing.
Yep.
So I want to ask you about daytime sword fishing.
We've just kind of started getting into it. It's become rather popular. A lot of people are doing it, and you know we're following along with the trend, I guess.
So back up though. Historically, swordfish was a nighttime bite.
Correct.
Right.
Nighttime, we would fish a bait at let's say 60 feet, 100 feet, and maybe 150 feet. Daytime, we're putting 5 pounds of lead on and running her down to 1,500 feet.
Wow.
And
imagine that crank.
Yeah.
You got electric reels, don't you?
Yeah. We have electric reels, but also the electric reels are also you can hand crank them if you want to.
Yeah.
I don't know who would want to, but
maybe the last 100 feet.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The last couple 100 feet you might want to hand crank it, but for the most part you just work the switch.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and now I'm not, and you're not just going to winch them right to the boat. It might be 4 or 5 hours of working the switch.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, there's still like a drag system on that.
Oh, yeah.
On that reel, the electric reel.
Yeah, all that does is just engage a motor, and your drag still slips as it would. Just keeps constant pressure on them. And I mean, there's fish, you know, 400 or 500 pounders that, you know, we'll fight 5, 6 hours, 8 hours.
That's unbelievable.
I couldn't imagine.
Unbelievable.
Now you can still keep swordfish.
Absolutely.
I mean, that'd be. Oh man, some swordfish steaks.
Yeah, you're allowed 1 per person.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, we've had some days where we've caught 7 or 8 in a day.
Really?
Wow.
Yep. And now most of the days you do that, they're small fish. They're like barely legal or throwbacks.
Okay.
But heck, I mean,
Still a swordfish.
A barely
Swordfish.
legal fish is still a 100-pound fish.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
that's a nice one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's great. So if our listeners can't get out to the show and stop by your booth, which is, what booth number are you?
2213. We're right underneath it, a 2200 sign.
Yeah, so
Just look for the string of marlin flags.
yep. So if you can't get to the booth, how do our listeners book a trip with you?
Yep. They can call me at my phone number, which is 443-235-6221. Or text me, or send smoke signals, or a homing pigeon, either or.
That works. Yeah.
I'm kind of old-fashioned. I do have email, but I don't check it very often. But
No problem.
best thing to do is call me or text me.
Yeah. Well,
This is a really nice booth. You
Yeah.
can't miss it.
You guys
it's a
got to
great
get,
booth.
if you're here.
And I've already booked 10 trips today, so my days are
Already?
filling
yeah.
up.
Jeez.
That's great. We'll get down here and get one of those spots.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Wow.
Thank
All right.
you.
Well,
Appreciate
thanks for
it.
talking with
Thank
us.
you, Josh.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Thanks.
guys.
All right, have a great
Thank
day.
you. Thank you.
And of course, we are still in the fishing hall. It's Bucky and Stevie.
There's no reason
and
to leave.
David Kyle.
Yeah.
Uh,
We got Steve, so it's tough to get out of here.
Exactly. And while we were walking around, Todd Clayton jumped out at us and said, I have a story to tell you. And we haven't heard it yet. A lot
Not
of
at all.
times we hear it and then we put it onto the podcast.
We said we need to record it first thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this will be all new to us and our listeners right away.
Yeah.
But, and
So take it away, Todd. Tell us about your story. Tell us about the ghost drag. What is it all about?
Well, it's an amazing little thing, but I've been fishing over 40 years. I'm almost 50 years old, been fishing my whole life.
Yeah.
And like most of us, I just couldn't wait to go to the Florida Keys for like a dream trip of
Oh,
fishing.
that's on my
Who
bucket
wouldn't?
list.
Yeah.
That's right. So my wife and I, we booked a trip down in Key West with a Key West native who knew his way around, and one in Isla Morada for a day of fishing with a guy from Maryland, who's where I'm from. Mm-hmm. And that's why we went. So get down into Key West, and for some odd reason, that whole week where there was no rain or inclement weather anywhere on the maps in the United States, the Keys were loaded up. The weather down there was so bad that my Key West charter native said, Todd, we're not going out because
Really?
it's just too
that
nasty.
Yeah.
In fact, restaurants were serving drinks that they only serve drinks when the temperature's below 70 degrees, and they were serving drinks that week.
No way.
Oh, man.
So there goes Key West. So, you know, I bite the bullet. I'm looking forward to Isla Morada.
Yeah.
Get up to Isla Morada. The weather's the same. It's gray. It's gloomy. I'm really depressed. And the captain looks at me and he says, are you sure you want to go out today? And I said, Brandon, I've waited my whole life to come here.
Yeah.
Fish, so I got to go. He said, well, let's just do a half day to start. So we go out, and he takes me out, and the first thing we start doing is live lining for King Max.
Okay.
And in that, he says, look at this. And he shows me a wire tie off a bread bag wrapped around the rod
Yeah.
in a J shape, cradling the line. And I said, what's that for? And he said, that's so fish can run free with no tension. To go on, we lost some King Max. They bit through the line, so he took me, and I went and did some knife jigging, wore my arms out knife jigging. 40 pounds of drag ripping off, spit the hook or something. We reel it up. The fish broke an 1/8-inch thick hook.
What?
So we're bombing out everywhere we go.
Yeah.
So he ended up, he says, let's take you to the honey hole and catch you some dinner. Well, you know what? He ain't catch no dinner. And he even said to me, he said, this is the worst day of fishing I have had all
He's
year.
rubbing it in.
Moral of the story is when I came home, and I'm in Maryland, and I fish on the Haverty Grace Flats a lot for rockfish in the spring.
All right.
Yeah.
So I took this bread tie trick, and I did it, and I was starting to have a catch ratio higher than my buddies next to me with that free spool component. So a little over a year ago, I started looking for things better than a bread tie or a beer bottle or a rock to hold my line.
Are you sure that's available?
Right. So I couldn't find it.
So you were live lining bait, I guess, in Havre de Grace. That's how you were catching fish.
Yeah, and again, more importantly, that this wire around the rod was holding the line enough to keep my bait in place.
Okay.
But that when a fish hit our bait, it instantly released with
Yeah,
no tension,
so they
allowing
can't feel
free
it.
spool to happen.
Yeah.
Free spool without a mediator, you'll have line dump. You can't have line dump. So what we did, and then I couldn't find anything, we built Ghost Drag. Ghost Drag is an adjustable bait running clip that snaps right onto fishing rods. Snaps right on and off. You'll cast out your bait. You leave your bail open. You'll attach your line to Ghost Drag and adjust our tension just so that you're holding your bait in place. Once the fish hits the bait and they're able to start running, we instantly release, allowing free spool to happen. And when a fish can run with no tension, they're going to hold bait longer and swallow it quicker.
Sure.
I like to target crappie, and this device in the summertime for those extra finicky crappie that will pick up a minnow and just take it away, and as soon as they feel that tension, they let it go.
That's right.
This is the way to catch those fish even.
We facilitate free spool fishing. I like to tell because up to now, and there may have been a few little products out there, but we've refined the adjustment to be so much that you can go from basically barely holding it to I've had teams in the White Marlin Open who were trolling for marlin with us.
Really?
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Unfortunately, they didn't catch the winning fish because, man, that would have really been good.
Put you over the top.
But we are about facilitating free spool fishing. We're a very simple device, and we're a very simple concept, but it's very, very effective against fish.
Yeah, I mean, this looks like it's very versatile for any rod you have. You clip it on, and you're good to go. I mean, just adjust it
And the same reels we use for casting lures, which I do in the evening, the morning, is the same rod and reel setup I use with Ghost Drag for live line and during the day.
Yeah.
And again, it's a quick snap on and snap off of the rod, so you can throw it in a tackle box and tie on your favorite lure and start using that same reel. I've gone up against the bait runner reels because I myself have used bait runners and secondary drags. They take a full 2 ounces of weight on their lightest drag setting. On their secondary drag setting, it takes 2 ounces of weight to pull that off the spool. Now, I've lost so many rockfish when they're running and they shake their head and they get this extra heat on them. That's right. After 2 head shakes, they'll spit that bait out. When I was free spooling them and they shook their head, they never got any input because the line continually dumps on them. They'll shake their head, and before you know it,
they're not feeling anything.
They don't feel a thing, and hence that's our motto. Ghost Drag, they'll never feel a thing until you bury the hook on them.
Oh, yeah, man. That's great. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. There is the concept out there, two drag systems within the spinning reel, the bait runner type reels. But, yeah, like you're saying, this is way lighter. I mean, he's demonstrating it for us right now. That's definitely 2 ounces.
And you don't need a different reel.
Yeah.
You don't need a second reel with that.
Sometimes those bait runner reels are hard to work on, to get them fixed. It's more components. It's a more expensive reel. This uses your regular reel, and you're good to go.
And I myself, I fish 3 rods, so I have a Ghost Drag on every rod. I don't have these big giant reels. Really, we're better than the bait runners. I'm really having to pick a fight with them guys over this because of the fish I've lost. I mean, personally, and I saw it, and I even have it on video. These fish spitting it after 2 head shakes. They ain't having it.
I like the fact that I'm a guy who doesn't have any bait runner reels, and if I wanted to fish like this, I can take my regular spinning reels, make them into a bait runner without the investment of bait running reels.
Yeah, man, this is great. I mean, our group does a lot of catfishing out of kayaks on the river, and that's a key thing. They'll take that bait. We love it. Man,
cool.
Good product.
Yeah,
I'm glad
thanks
you
for
stopped
stopping
us, man. That's awesome.
Thank you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you guys.
What a story. It fits right in with the Sonic Campfire.
Very effective technique here. Very, very effective.
And you guys were at ICAST.
We were at ICAST. We had a great reception at ICAST to our product and our concept. Yeah, over the top.
If people can't get to the 2020 Great American Outdoor Show and get down to the fishing hall and find you guys, how can people find you, find Ghost Drag, and get a hold of this product?
Yeah, we're definitely on www.ghostdrag.com. You'll be able to find us there and just navigate through that. We're on Facebook as well as Instagram. I'm the kind of guy, feel free to reach out to me with any questions or talk to me. I mean, I'd be glad to talk about this. And again, we're just so excited about it, and it really is. It helps me catch more fish, and it can help you.
Who
catch
doesn't
more
want to
fish
catch
too.
more fish?
Yeah,
Tell me about it.
And I know that's a bold
no-brainer.
statement.
No.
That's a bold statement, but this technique, you're going to catch more fish.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah, it does. The concept makes sense. Thanks, Todd. We appreciate you.
Thank you guys very
I'm
much.
glad you pulled us out of the hallway and just said, hey, I got a story for you because it fits us.
It's meant to be.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Day 2 in the books. That was some good stuff. I'm looking forward to a whole bunch more. We got us 7 days left. If you guys get a chance, make sure you head on down to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Check out the National Rifle Association's Great American Outdoor Show 2020. Look for us, say hi, and remember, as always, rig 'em weedless. See ya.